Carrier planes of the 3rd Fleet on the 13th and 14th of November attacked enemy shipping in Manila Bay, airfields and other installations on Luzon Island, including the Cavite Naval Base. In these strikes, 2 enemy destroyers exploded, 1 light cruiser was damaged, 30 large and medium cargo vessels and tankers sunk or damaged, 170 planes strafed on the ground, 25 airborne enemy planes shot down, and 40 damaged. Sixth Army forces en route with the 7th Fleet to northern Luzon. Objective, to take the American flag back to Manila. U.S. guns battle Jap planes and 2 Jap destroyers, attempting to break into our convoy of more than 800 vessels. The camera, 6 miles from the action, records direct hits on the enemy vessels. Enemy air attacks off Lingayen Gulf. Loss to the enemy, 79 planes. A 3-day naval bombardment of the entire Lingayen Gulf area. On S-Day, 9th January, a 2-hour bombardment is concentrated on Lingayen Gulf's southern coast. Our landing forces moved toward shore almost unmolested, spearheading the greatest amphibious operation of the Pacific War. About 900 amphibious tanks, tractors, and ducks, and 2,500 LCVPs and similar craft were lowered into the Gulf. Pre-invasion minesweeping had revealed few underwater obstacles. Up to 100,000 men, under the command of Lieutenant General Walter Kruger, made landings at 4 points along a wide stretch of beach. Troops move inland toward the provincial capital of Lingayen, meeting little opposition. Beachhead areas were left virtually deserted by Filipino residents, in compliance with our pre-invasion leaflets. Returning to their liberated home, they offer information on Jap dispositions. S-Day victims at the Naval Evacuation Hospital. Captured Japanese-built Lingayen airstrip with its runway of 4,000 feet. Engineers extend the bomb-cratered strip, aided by Filipino laborers, some of whom ask only clothing for payment. The original strip consisted of sod-covered sand. The field received our planes 1 week after its seizure. Filipinos also aid engineers in repairing bridges demolished by retreating Jap forces. This span is on one of Luzon's main highways. Roads leading from the beaches were left in good condition. A Filipino guerrilla aids our push inland. Elements of the 37th Division, 14th Corps, move up amphibious vehicles for a drive across water approaches to the city of Dagupan, small inland port on the Dagupan River. Dagupan natives indicate the absence of Japs by a welcoming American flag. As Japanese General Yamashita promises Tokyo a brilliant victory, 6th Army forces continue to push through liberated seacoast villages toward the open country. General MacArthur returns to Luzon, 2 hours after the first wave hit Lingayen Beach, 2 years and 9 months after the fall of Bataan. Beginning September 1942, General MacArthur's return campaign led him through Buna, Lae, Salamaua, Hollandia, the Admiralties, New Britain, and Morotai. Accompanying him is his Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Richard K. Sutherland. On the eastern flank of the American penetration, infantry units pushed toward Damortis in the northern sector of the Gulf. Dead Jap in Damortis, 1945. Jap monument symbolizing victory in death, erected in Damortis, 1941. Resistance intensifies on the eastern flank. A Jap roadblock. Filipino guerrillas are supplied with grenades and instructed in their use. There are an estimated 2 million native guerrillas in the Philippines. S+4, a 50-mile area has been secured to the north, east, and south of Lingayen Gulf. Near Bastonia, reinforcements arrive for a regiment of the 35th Division. It is 10th January when Lieutenant General George S. Patton's Third Army is exerting heavy pressure toward compressing the bulge. There is no time for gradual battle hardening in a quiet sector. The officer addressing them explains the regiment's motto, "All hell can't stop us." He tells them the regiment has never given ground and makes no effort to minimize the harshness of the winter campaign and the dangers facing these men. Aerial photographs made on 13th January as tanks and infantry of the 6th Armored Division participate in the routing of Nazis from Belgian territory west of the Luxembourg border. By 25th January, the 6th Armored is to reach a point 2 miles from the German frontier and 13 miles east of Uffalise. Uffalise itself is captured on 16th January. About 500 yards from the town, 2 patrols meet. It's a junction between patrols of the 1st and 3rd Armies, who have been moving toward each other from the north and south since 3rd January. Uffalise, a resort town lying in a sheltered valley, is silent and in ruins on 18th January. First patrols, which entered on the night of the 15th, found it had been evacuated hastily after a last-minute defense by mining. With this communication junction in Allied hands, only Saint-Vite remained as the last important road junction on the Germans' retreat route from the flattened bulge. On the 7th Army front, during the first week in January, our lines are pulled back from advanced positions in the Wissembourg Gap. After last vehicles cross the bridge over the Selsbach River, 13 miles northeast of Agno, the span is made ready for demolition. Engineers of the 79th Division place the charge. At Lauterbach, also on the northern edge of the Alsace Plain, men of an engineer combat battalion apply 100 pounds of TNT to a captured blockhouse. This is on 9th January, with the Germans attacking at many points north and south of Strasbourg. Elements of the 79th Infantry Division, supported by tanks, move up to counter enemy gains southeast of Agno. On 5th January, the Nazis established a bridgehead across the Rhine near Gamsheim, about 10 miles southeast of Agno. This action is in Drusenheim, just north of Gamsheim. The Nazi force which made the first breakthrough in this area is estimated as being about a battalion in strength. Infantry troops dash for cover, while tanks start to drive the foe from defensive positions at the far end of a bridge leading to the next town. Forward elements now try to get across the bridge. Other troops follow up the initial crossing. The tank risks a crossing of the small span. Additional troops press forward, and heavy but indecisive fighting continues. Northwest of Drusenheim, we voluntarily had retired to the Maginot Line. The 79th Infantry and an armored division combined to halt the attack about 10 miles north of Agno. Reconnaissance photographs of the oil refinery near Mercvier, 25 miles north of Strasbourg. The area is shown before and during the attack by 8th Air Force heavy bombers. 106 B-17s flying at 20,000 feet dropped 260 tons of bombs on the Nazi-held installations. The extent of the damage inflicted in the August 3rd strike was first revealed through the photograph now shown. By the end of November, Mercvier was captured, and in December, Air Corps cameramen made the following record of the bomb damage. Nearly every building was damaged or destroyed, and airmen report that fires were seen burning 20 hours after the attack. Lost to the Germans was the source for an annual yield of 5,000 tons of lubricants. The total tankage capacity for oil stores was 80,000 tons. The refinery's rail lines were also knocked out. The Mercvier plant was the only oil refinery of significant size on French soil. It had a crude intake capacity of 12,000 tons a month and utilized the output of local oil fields. The crude stock contained good quality lubricating oil, and the refinery had acid and clay treating and dewaxing facilities, as well as a cracking coil to augment the naturally low yield of gasoline. Aerial views of the bombed-out refinery and surrounding countryside. In the past 6 months, key railroads in western Germany and other vital oil centers have been targets for persistent attacks by our heavy bombers. Latest figures on air operations reveal that Allied planes operating from bases in Western Europe and the Mediterranean flew approximately 27,000 strategic and tactical sorties and dropped nearly 21,000 tons of bombs on enemy targets in the brief period 16 to 23rd January. On 1st January, a British carrier task force leaves for a strike on oil refineries at Pangkalan Brandon in Sumatra, westernmost island of the rich Dutch East Indies. The task force contains 3 aircraft carriers. At 0650 hours, 4th January, Hellcat fighters and Avenger bombers take off. Along with these go rocket-carrying Fireflies and small, fast Seaflies, naval developments from the famous Spitfire fighters. The target sighted. The refinery powerhouse and other important plants receive direct hits, as do oil tanks and administration buildings. During the bombing, Jap planes strafe and dive bomb ships of the carrier force. The Japs are driven off, and British planes return from the strike. Several planes make crash landings. One plane can't quite make the flight deck. The task force reports no planes lost through enemy action and no casualties. Crippling damage was done to one of the most important centers of Jap oil production. East of Sumatra, on the other end of the Netherland Indies, on 29th December, 12 B-25s of the 38th Bomb Squadron, 5th Army Air Force, bomb and strafe Jap supplies and dispersal areas near Sidati Airstrip on the island of Celebes. Coming in over the target at an altitude of 75 feet, the planes make effective use of the screening protection afforded by trees and jungle brush. Our planes encountered light 20mm anti-aircraft and machine gun fire from the ground. Each plane is loaded with 12 100-pound para-demolition type bombs, whose slow parachute descent gives low-level bombers time to escape the blast. All planes returned safely.